Hello, this is an emergency contest. This is the design. Donate. Whenever anyone refers to this donation, it's all right. You have to separate time subjects for time reasons, whatever. But when we do it with this, we don't do it to leave out exceptions and don't ignore exception nature and not simultaneously the value of that, which is forsaken because of involvements with everyone attached, every agent, fact, treatment, nature, simultaneously sustained ways to fake locations, words, relationships to others and their family members. Everyone made to force value, self-value rolls with this. Positive and negative treatments. We'll discern how actual science reveals positive and negative have three semi-natures and demonstration of the one identity of positive that will only stay positive unto itself. Negative value nature is manifest in demonstration of where the perfect world is in only increasing volume. Identity of volume and identity as nature. All exception and exception nature are in demonstration of this. For example, lethal IDs really means, per me, force space nature transfer. And what is nature? The identity of the body of forever. This is a science that was criminally re-engineered, entertained, criminally re-engineered, forced, tricked, persuaded, hurt to, worse, realized, defending other, criminally foreign influenced method /S of sciences. And that's where the / stands for a little bit more of the identity of volume, that the identity of the body of forever is, which is a simultaneous relationship to positive and negative, no, as your own identity is. See, this is our natural native course that was criminally re-engineered in semi-ancient times since before modern religion's messengers. All of them. The identity, the ground locations, the sciences, the database relationships, therefore the human fact treatment nature became criminally foreign influence as victims, only capable now of blaming other things, others themselves, for what nature will continue to demonstrate onto and as the value of all areas, while all formal positions of fact treatment nature are simultaneously pretending other. Valuing having other been pretending, because they're kept needing to use investigations and investigators to hide their collusion with that which is sick originally and still, preventing simple correlation, pretending other simultaneously. That's why it's so critical to understand how the phrase reparations is recorded being and having been used to keep self-divided, self-valued. See, everyone's not even fathoming what could actually be afforded, individually grouped and together. Not only afforded, reversed, where it's paying the volume as the value as nature, onto and as an identity of the ground relationship to our quality of fact treatment that reveals evolution everywhere. That's what leads sciences, capable of speaking for American history. Others stays in collusion with overt criminal enterprises, private, and the branches of government, recorded originally and still, individually grouped and together, criminally foreign influence, preventing mandated law while pretending other, misprision, distinctly, sickly, and non-distinctly and together. Now this is what hundreds of nations at once. So if we start talking about this, there's integrity there. Locations, areas, states, all criminally foreign influenced. Fake positive, fake, all investigations, investigators. Identity of needed to hide life progressions from the past. And with all private tied to them. The people, when I was in 6th grade, there were people with on and off Central Connecticut State University. On and off other universities and colleges of each age and nature. They have the middle school, the high school. They're attaching people to fake words and fake locations They're using a crime method. This was sophistication here since before our founding parents. This is why George Washington had to leave slavery entrenched in the North. Sickly distinctly in Boston, in Massachusetts, in Connecticut, and in New York. Specifically to keep how non-distinctly, not only not discerned, but everyone invested through other natures of interest, as other styles of fact-treatment nature invested, self-defended, self-valued. Can't value that and afford logic's actually simultaneously inherent, active, and progressive means, and with sequence true, and free speech and the surface values of our Constitution defended. So we have an identity of the ground value progression method that is having been used, that is using and having used on off all the different identity religious locations. The same way they recorded of effectively having kept self-valued, how they keep the branches of government, each identity of each branch, individually grouped and together, criminally foreign influence, delusions raw. It is so discernible when people make opinions about what slavery was about, what Jim Crow laws are about, what slavery is about. And that slashes an identity of volume. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by the grand branches of government in so many ways, individually grouped and together. Confirmed. Criminally foreign influence, delusions raw. Logic, racketeering nature. Self-valued, criminal, and seditious nature, they say, is legalized, but it's criminally legalized. They're all offensively having prevented and preventing suits against this, while they're pretending that's the way to solve it. The way to solve it is to follow mandated law, to allow defenses of the surface values of the Constitution. See, they invested people criminally foreign influenced originally still with uses of identity of the ground locations, where it has a relationship to our fact treatment nature, which is a simultaneous a sequence nature / simultaneous nature, where we come down to science. So, right, someone has an opinion about what science is. They want to have it tied to theater. It's all right, you want to have it tied to a criminal and seditious nature. Don't use time always, too fast, too slow, forging names, switching names. The branches of government recorded forging names, switching names to get over on identity's course. Forever natures. Drop the force. Fake sides. So, they're, for example, relevant to the fake parties' fake sides. Criminally foreign influence branches of government, individually grouped and together, crime methods manifest. Therefore, they can't defend free speech. Therefore, the more people speak real, the more they stack and have people influence the stacked roles with offensive database or stacking fake recorded things tied to the on and off all locations, verbal federal crime roles, verbal predicate act roles, which is relevant to this organized crime method, worse than war crimes, but simple organized crime method, database relationship tied to the fact-cheaping nature, forced fake positive and fake righteous justice, forced self not defended, with no one with free speech because they entrenched, breaching organized crime methods, sickly south and north. And throughout, what is recorded, so they have everyone worse than victim predators incapable of fathoming, but they want to make opinions, follow mandated law. So the reason they have each age sickly hurt to keep all with adults, these are the same people that use adult as if they're literally, you see how they are actually recorded. They are needed to hide from correlation nature. They are kept this way by this method that is intercampuses of each age and nature and age difference, including the private campuses in the regular public schools. They are recorded through time involved with this. It's clear as day. Is in demonstration with the night of their shared identity. This identity of value progression. It's all right if people want to make opinions. Don't pretend you had conversations with me about my work, and myself and my family members. They've been attaching my family and other kids and kids of each age and factory nature to fake locations, fake ties to each other. See, my town's police chief is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with a whole bunch of people from Hartford Hospital, other hospitals involved with predicate acts with him, and with other police associated with him, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with FBI, former director of the FBI, federal criminal co-defendants of his, and his defendant capacities in 2006 case, leading up to it and since, with predicate acts together against me and against boys and girls and men and women of each age of factory nature, juxtaposed natures of organized crime, self-value leveraged upon them. This is maintained outcome per families long involved with this through agencies, criminally foreign influence associated with the Demora family, Spada family, Scalora family, and a Demora family. With extended family members like Phil Club, further involved also with predicate acts with forensic locations through time, since before they were born. People involved with this, with the transition from ALCA to RICO, the Organized Crime Control Act, to Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act. I forgot the contest. Here's the contest. So, like, you know how they have those sweatsuits that, like, boxers, sometimes boxers, they want to lose weight, whatever. If they don't, it's not good, healthy to do that. But if you put the thing, I'm not a doctor, but it's ridiculous, the inventions they have for them. And that's the thing. Put a thing where it has, like, you could seal it a couple places, so nothing's gonna slip through. Then you separate this part from the so you can see though from the part that sees stays. You make it so you can wash it. Take out the thing if you need to. Seal it if you have to. Just put sealant in. But ridiculous inventions, how they don't have the money because they have so many natures of organized crime associated with mental health, associated with the various natures of courts and the various natures of police forms, and on and off their ground locations and roles with database crimes. Since before computers. Now it's involved with wire crime method, whole wire crime methods, forging names and switching names. For example, criminally pretending they have the right to lie, and criminally pretending that they have been doing a legitimate, going to locations, people's houses legitimately, which it is recorded other, way worse than just extortion, identity thefts and frauds roles. No, as actually recorded. You know how many people the Wethersfield police chief in the 1 years ago involved with the same house, involved further with a proven principal child offenders campus, further recording then and now with the two Mendez police, also attached me to fake conversation with the guy. Now these are people also involved with all kinds of sick things, that they make confessions through time. They also have recorded this pattern of confessions as the people involved with the interbranch that are preventing me anything in writing criminally since I was a kid, criminally pretending other. We have to address how the courts are pretending we have to sue for rights, and we have to pick which ones when they're stacking they're recorded stacking and having stacked names. People don't even want to be inclusion with them. Because they already used investigators to hide the criminality of their own branches of government, selves, and all tied to them. And their neighbors even, because of how the value progression is being used and having been used. They have a whole bunch of people involved with the identity thefts and frauds against me. Wire crimes, mail crime methods with the Wethersfield police. Dozens of people from the Britain Superior Court, on and off the Wethersfield Judicial Branch offices, on and off the state prison offices. Now there was also a Rick Cianfaglione and his brother Mark Cianfaglione, and recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with prosecutors and with doctors involved with crimes with kids. And I never had anything to do with them the entire time they were in high school. They had with my neighbor and with his cousins they used to hang around with. And he was in my grade. I only know them in context where they used to tell me confessions too, tied to an O'Brien family involved with predicate acts on and off, Trinity College on and off, CCSU involved with them. They have a Joshua Julian and a Joshua Stryker, also with intercities connected on and off campuses crimes with the child sex offenders families on the registry before they got caught, who are involved with Hartford courts and with Middletown courts and with the Superior Court, involved with predicate acts with people on and off the campuses I went to through time, and the principal child offenders campus, and his roles with these Mendez police that attached me and little kids to fake locations through time with people since they were kids. I never had a class with those Mendez police. They're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved also where they have other people make confessions with the extent of the confessions. Because this is also interbranch forging names and switching names to hide their crimes in a whole bunch of cases. Their roles with areas crimes, with all locations used criminally, because they were using their live progressions, not just towards where everyone lives, where they're going to walk, where they're going to drive, where they're going to go, to each campus, each database relationship. This is where they have collusion with self-valued, criminally foreign influenced predicate acts delivery system method roles, all as methods of liars, pretending others, self-valued, of a breaching organized crime method. It's very simple to discern that and how originally instilled. We have the mass forsaken, self-value. We have roles with that. Connecticut media, people associated with is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that CNN and their sources interbranch are involved with them, with crimes with Russians, with Wethersfield town offices, and with other nations. But those are crimes against Russians too. They have roles with it's not just their motivations for money and things like that, where they have the private organized crime. Self-valued in collusion with the overt criminal enterprises, with the branches of government interbranch, like with their physical delusions, with psychology. Recorded clear as day. Their roles creating fake mental diagnosis against people, forging names, switching names, forcing physical delusions on people. They're recorded collusion with more people I caught with people on the child sex offender registry, with other natures of child abuse roles and all organized crime roles on and off those locations. No, in relationship to the roles with database organized crime and the identity thefts and frauds, and worse than war crimes, simple organized crime method with identity, black and white. That's what the answer to what caused slavery, a breaching organized crime method. Now see, we had branches of government originally still that would deny this, but dishonestly for other reasons, because they're recorded also having been involved with all kinds of natures of organized crime acts and cases. Natures actually recorded in cases, uses of the law, in sick collusion, and needing to hide that from correlation nature as maintained by a breaching organized crime method. So where they need to hide. They